So, if every day you came to this channel and I described to you how to drive a nail with a hammer, well, before long, you would know everything that there is to know about nails and hammers. And eventually you would say, no, I don't need to know more about how to drive a nail with a hammer. I know everything that there is to know about it. I've mastered this. Why do I keep returning to this channel to teach me about this thing that I already know about? And so you wouldn't. You would move on. You would be confused as to why I continue to make videos about the nail and the hammer. And so your soul would have integrated the knowledge of the nail and the hammer and have no more need to continue exploring that idea. Well, I am suggesting that this is the nature of the soul itself and its very purpose and how it relates to the universe and the universe's purpose. And so while we may be living our lives and experiencing things in a particular way, I would suggest that there are other forms of consciousness, other forms of souls that are newer than our own. And perhaps some of these souls have never experienced the idea or the concept of spin, just simple spin. And so for a form of consciousness which has never experienced spin, it must be exhilarating. Imagine all the different phenomenon that could emerge from simply spinning and the different orientations that one can form and the different energy effects that are created in comparison to a form of consciousness which remains stagnant. This must be exhilarating and enlightening and thrilling even. And so I would suggest that the whole universe is an ocean of consciousness. And while we have long since set down many concepts just like the nail and the hammer and no longer correspond to the need to re-experience these things, we still share a common journey, and we still share a common lineage, and we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, literally on the ground beneath our feet and the grass, and we look up to consciousnesses which have perhaps even made it to a point where they have left the atmosphere and the pool of gravity and are now traveling among the stars. Is this not what the billionaires of our planet now seek to do? We're going to colonize Mars. India just landed on the dark side of the moon in search of water. The destiny of mankind is most certainly among the stars and unseen planets and things like that. But there's more to the story here, because the soul is not a thing. In the same way that the soul integrates things and it says no to the things that it has known in the past, as in it doesn't need to repeat the lessons of the past over and over, and therefore progresses in a linear pathway towards higher wisdom. And so the soul is not a thing. It is a no thing. It is a thing which knows. And it does so by reflection, doesn't it? Right now, we look upon the universe and we reflect. And we take what we know and we reflect upon it. And if it does not align with reality, well, then we adapt. You see? Because reality is the great teacher. The universe created by God surrounds us with truth and knowledge and wisdom to raise the soul up to its highest potential. It is the screen, or it is the experience of the screen before us. Not the screen of the computer, but the screen of the whole universe. And our place within the universe has to do with what the soul does and does not know. Because the universe is perfect. It does not go in reverse. It goes in one direction towards the highest state of truth, highest state of wisdom. And so, the other interesting thing about this is that this relates directly to truth itself. Because think about what is true, what is false. You know, if we were to gather the people of Earth into a field at noon implies the sun is directly overhead. Then who would stand before the rest of us and deny the sun? Right? And who would believe them? I mean, even a blind man would feel the radiation from the sun shining down upon them. And why would we deny the sun in this scenario to begin with? What form of trickery would be required to do this? And furthermore, it would be detrimental to deny the seasons, to deny the truth of the reality of the way that the world turns, and to deny that winter will be coming, and to not prepare, and to not, plant seeds at the right time, and all of these things in accordance with the undeniable truth of the seasons. So, like it or not, truth corresponds to reality. There's nothing. I don't understand why people think reality is evil. This must be some sort of a subconscious plant, because there's nothing wrong with any of the universe. The universe is the great teacher. The universe is brilliant and beautiful and provides life, and it teaches us all of the lessons that we need to learn here on Earth and beyond, in fact. And so truth is the law of correspondence. It is 1 is equal to 1. Why is 1 equal to 1? Because the left side corresponds to the right. If it didn't have to correspond, well, then what are we dealing with? We're just Do we have mathematics anymore? Does a word have to correspond to its definition? Does logic exist? Everything falls apart if we don't have the law of correspondences. And more than that, if we really want to know what is universally true, then we need to look to reality and nature and see what corresponds in that. We can manifest all sorts of ideas which exist only within the pages of a book. But if those ideas do not correspond to reality, then nonetheless they are not eternally true. They may share some portion, some semblance of truth, but ultimately fail to meet the test of the author of all of creation. And following this logic where all things that we observe and all things that we measure have varying levels of veracity, as in, I could say that it's true that I'm wearing a shirt, but that's not eternally true. That's just corresponding to reality temporarily. So then what corresponds to reality forever? And I've thought about this, and the conclusion that I've come to is that for all of time, because energy can neither be created or destroyed, only converted, the universe, having not already fallen victim to chaos and entropy, has proven itself to be harmonious in itself and eternal and self-sustaining. And so what is true will always correspond to reality. Reality will always be the eternal teacher. The soul will always reflect upon the universe. And so the eternal truth is that reflectivity. And that reflectivity is the soul. So the eternal truth of the universe is that the soul is immortal. It's that we're always going to be learning exactly what it is we need to learn. We're always going to be setting down the nail and the hammer that we've already gone over so many times, and we're going to move towards higher truths, things that the soul needs to learn or wants to learn or chooses to learn. So death is an illusion. In the same way that the devil is an illusion. You see, if the devil were real, then the devil would be not like one of these half-truths, right? Like the fact that I'm wearing an article of clothing at the moment, like this shirt. Right? That's not eternally real. That will eventually become untrue, one way or another. And so what's left in the end are the eternal truths, which have maintained the order and the structure and the life of the cosmos for what, according to the laws of science as we know them, must be eternity. That's real. That harmony is real. That negative entropy, that life is real. And death is just an illusion. The devil, which is that which does evil, which is that which is opposed to the truth, that which is opposed to life, is self-destructive. It is entropy. It is chaos. And we don't look out into the world and see chaos. We don't look out into the world and see entropy. These things lost an infinite amount of time ago. And so, both the devil and death are merely fictions, things that appear to be true, but upon further inspection and analyzed through the lens of the eternal eye, fall short in every way, shape, and form.